Welcome to the OK Not OK podcast. I am the SportsZu, and I know you missed me since Doc got my 2 Friday appearances the last 2 weeks for his end of the year podcast. So it's my turn to take his next 2 Thursday podcasts because we've got a book, the Royal Rumble, all 30 entrants, every big return, every surprise entrance, every person who won't return or appear, and every single elimination, getting down to the winner. This week we are doing the Women's Rumble, and next week we will do the Men's Rumble. So why don't we just get it started and count down from 10 with our first entrant, which will be the grand return of Charlotte Flair. Well, we just got her return vignette on Friday Night SmackDown, and I admit I probably would have had her in the number 30 spot before that happened. But now since they telegraphed that she's returning, she will instead be at number 1, so she gets her grand entrance. So for number 2, we'll give that to Chelsea Green. Almost anyone else would be a letdown after Charlotte's return, but we know that people will still go crazy for Chelsea, and she will get to the ring and obviously play scared to face Charlotte. And we know that during this entire time, we will have barely any wrestling for these first few minutes until we get to number 3, which will be Io Sky. She will primarily go after Charlotte, of course, and we'll finally get some wrestling. We know that Chelsea will probably cower into the corner or even out of the ring, and so Charlotte and Io will get to put on a show for a few minutes, but still no eliminations. At number 4 is B-Fab, and she will of course target Chelsea, which is right in line with our new storyline of B-Fab now teaming up with Michin, it appears, to go after both Chelsea and Piper, so that just makes sense. But unfortunately for B-Fab, at number 5 will be Piper Niven. So of course she will go right after B-Fab. This will cause a 2-on-1 attack, and we'll say that Chelsea eliminates B-Fab for the first elimination of the Royal Rumble. So that takes us to number 6, which will be Zoe Stark. She will, of course, primarily go after Io, and we know that we have so much interaction between Damage Control and Pure Fusion Collective that we might as well keep it going, but for now, no one gets eliminated. At number 7, we'll go to Roxanne Perez of NXT. Her primary target will also be Io. We actually had one match on the main roster where Roxanne, Raquel, and Shotzi teamed up to take on then Damage Control's Bayley, Dakota, and Io in October of 2022, and that was Roxanne's first main roster match. So how about that? And who knows, maybe that will set up what is next, because at number 8, we will have Bayley targeting Roxanne. So strangely enough, that will actually cause Bayley to inadvertently help Io by going after Roxanne. And of course, Bayley and Io will fight and argue about that a little bit, but at this time, no eliminations. Which takes us to number 9 for Zelina Vega. Her primary target will be Roxanne after Bayley and Io are arguing, and this will be a fun little moment or two with 2 of the more diminutive wrestlers going at it for a moment, but no eliminations, which will take us to number 10, which will be Cora Jade of NXT. Her primary target will be Zelina, of course, to help out Roxanne, and those 2 will team up together and eliminate Zelina. So Roxanne will get credit for this elimination, but they better look out because at number 11, surprise entrant, TNA Knockouts Women's Champion, Masha Slamovich. After the announcement of the WWE TNA partnership just last week, of course, we have to go this route just like we did last year when it was a surprise for Jordynne Grace, but now it just makes complete sense. So this will actually be the 3rd time that we'll have a TNA competitor in the Royal Rumble after Mickie James and, of course, after Jordynne last year. And so Masha will obviously target Cora, as we saw Masha at NXT a couple weeks ago, and then Cora just went to TNA Genesis. So we know we have an ongoing feud already in progress. But at the moment, no elimination. So we go to number 12 with Jordynne Grace. Well, of course, this is the first official appearance as a WWE superstar for Jordan because her TNA contract is up, and I think it's pretty safe to say she's going to be going to the WWE. So her primary target will also be Cora, and she will help her former rival that took her title in Masha to team up to have Masha officially eliminate Cora. And that's not all, because once Cora is gone, Jordan will turn on Masha and eliminate her. So that takes us to number 13, which will be Shayna Baszler. Her primary target will, of course, be Io Sky, but no eliminations in this segment. At number 14 will be Kairi Sane, and her primary target will, of course, be Shayna, as she will help to fend off Shayna from eliminating Io, and of course, no eliminations. So at number 15, I don't know how this happens, but Sonya Deville will be next. Her primary target will be Kairi, and this will give the Pure Fusion Collective a 3-on-2 advantage, which will be enough for Sonya to eliminate Kairi. But before she can eliminate Io, well, Dakota Kai's music hits, and she is number 16, so of course, she's going to go after the Pure Fusion Collective, but it will still be a 3-on-2 handicap for damage control, so somehow it will just so happen that Bayley comes up from behind and lifts up Shayna and Sonya, allowing Dakota and Io to eliminate Shayna and Sonya. So wow, that really turned things around quickly. So Io and Dakota both start yelling at Bayley, but because of those eliminations, they will let her go. And at number 17, we have the surprise entrant of Trish Stratus. It has been confirmed that Trish will be in Indianapolis for an autograph signing session, so if she's there already, why don't we just put her in the match? And in fact, she has not appeared in the Royal Rumble since the very first one in 2018, when she entered at number 30 and picked up 3 quick eliminations. And she only lasted a little over 5 minutes in that one, so I think it's time to get her back in here and say thank you, Trish. However, her primary target will be... well, let's see who's in this match. She's going to run in and stand by Zoe Stark. And it looks like both of them will go after Dakota and Io, but then Trish remembers what happens in that last match that she had against Becky Lynch, and she will toss out Zoe instead. So how the tables have turned there, since Zoe was the one that was on the good side by turning on Trish, and now it's just completely reversed without anything else happening. So, funny how it works in the WWE sometimes. That takes us to number 18, and this one's gonna change the complexion of the match with Nia Jax entering. She's gonna go right after Trish, and Trish is gonna kind of cower away, but Nia doesn't care who she is, that she's a Hall of Famer and one of the true legends of the women's division ever in WWE, and she is going to throw out Trish Stratus already. And that leads to a stare down with Jordynne Grace, but Jordynne unfortunately is out of her league today, so Nia, being the fresher person, is also going to toss her out. And then Nia, still on a rampage, is going to turn over to Chelsea, and Chelsea's just going to run behind Piper and make sure that Piper is the one to confront Nia instead. And yet again, this does not work out well for the new security detail, and Nia will also eliminate Piper. And that means Chelsea has nowhere to go, and it's just too easy for Nia at that point, and she also eliminates her as well. Whew, what a segment that is, huh? So that takes us to number 19, and Natalya, and she's going to do her best to try to slow down Nia here. And I guess it'll work for a little bit, and Bayley is also going to help her out and almost get Nia out of the match, but Roxanne is going to come up from behind and eliminate Bayley. Wow, tough run for Bayley after winning the whole thing from the number 3 spot last year. However, Roxanne is then going to show Nia what she's done by eliminating Bayley, and Nia's going to just not care and throw Roxanne right on out to eliminate her. So at number 20, we will have Lyra Valkyria, and she will also try to go after Nia to get some revenge from her loss at Queen of the Ring. And this will at least slow her down a little bit, and there will be no eliminations. So at number 21, we will get Raquel Rodriguez. She will go after Io, and also still no eliminations. At number 22, we will have Liv Morgan. Man, funny how it works when these people that are aligned show up right back to back. So she too will go after Io, and we'll get a nice little Judgment Day versus Damage Control stare down. And with Liv and Raquel being fresh, they are going to go right after Io, take control, and eliminate them at the same time. But upon seeing this, Natalya is going to try to find an opening and dump Liv out, but this doesn't work as Raquel stops her, and Liv takes advantage to eliminate Natalya. So that takes us to number 23, and that will be Ivy Nile entering the match. She will go right after Lyra Valkyria, and this might just, in fact, set up a potential women's IC title opponent, but we'll have no eliminations in this period. So that will take us to number 24, which will be Naomi, and she will also go after Nia, but for now, no eliminations. But maybe she'll get some help with Michin entering at number 25, and she will, of course, also go after Nia. But even working with Naomi, no eliminations. But the tables are going to turn here quickly with Candice LeRae entering at number 26. So she will target Naomi first. And once she clears Naomi out of the way, she will team up with Nia. That will allow Nia to eliminate Michin. And at this point, we get a little stare down with Nia and Candice looking at Liv and Raquel. And this harkens back to their failed War Games match team up, but instead of fighting each other, Liv and Raquel will see Lyra up against the ropes, and they will combine together to eliminate Lyra. But that's only a temporary stay because then those four will fight each other. That will allow Bianca Belair at number 27 to have a fresh entrance, but she will see that Ivy is trying to eliminate Naomi, so of course she will immediately save her tag team title partner and eliminate Ivy Nile. So that takes us to number 28. It's our NXT Women's Champion Julia entering next. Of course, we've seen the NXT Women's Champion in the Rumble before, so it only makes sense to do it again, and her primary target will be Charlotte. And we haven't heard that name in quite a while. She must be doing a lot of laying low in this particular Rumble, and will have no eliminations here. At 29, the Storm is here, and Jade Cargill will return from her injury, and the camera will cut to Naomi and Bianca talking to each other. And so when Jade gets to the ring, those two will hug her right when she enters, and Jade will kind of give a snide look to both of them while they're hugging her. But before anything else can happen, Liv is going to tell Raquel to attack Jade, and this of course goes badly for Raquel, and Jade incredibly is able to lift Raquel up and eliminate her, and Liv's eyes go wide, and Naomi and Bianca are then the ones to eliminate Liv, with Bianca finishing off Liv with a KOD over the top rope. So at this point we get to number 30, our final entrant, and well, you knew that the man would come around, but we just had to save her for the end, of course. So Becky Lynch is number 30, and of course, as she comes down the ramp, it's a stare down with Charlotte Flair, and that takes us to the final 8 contestants in the Royal Rumble. But before we finish this match, let's take a moment and talk about who's not returning in this match. First, let's start with NXT. There are so many good choices out there now, but we only have so many spots. And in the last couple of years, we only had 3 NXT superstars in 2023, and then only 2 last year in 2024. And honestly, I just didn't want to choose more than that. There's only 30 spots in this Royal Rumble, and since Roxanne Perez is basically a lock, so it just makes sense that we're going to bring Cora along beside her. And that makes even more sense based on this new TNA partnership with Masha, so I don't know how we couldn't get all of them together in there at one time. And then for that third spot, if we wanted to have it, it just would be hard to pick someone other than Julia right now since she is the champion. I mean, we've seen plenty of the Meta Girls so far, so they don't really need a spot in this Rumble. And of course, it's a little disappointing we can't include someone like Kalani Jordan or anyone from Fatal Influence. And I'm especially disappointed not to include Stephanie Vaquer, but seriously, there's always next year for the Royal Rumble. I'm sure it'll happen before long. But including more NXT superstars, of course, would also mean we're passing over the actual main roster talent. So I wanted to include as many of there as possible, so at least we got, a few folks like Ivy and BFAB in there that might not necessarily always get a chance. But let's talk about who didn't make the match from the current roster. It is tough to leave out both the Unholy Union and Carter and Chance when both won Tag Gold in 2024. But only Isla out of those 4 did not actually participate in last year's Rumble, so I didn't feel quite as badly about skipping out on them this year. Same thing with Maxine, she was in the Rumble last year, so instead I gave the final spot to BFAB over her. And Blair Davenport and Elektra Lopez just haven't been seen inside the ring that much, and BFAB has much more recently, so we gave her that final spot. And also, it just doesn't seem right for a Wyatt 6 member to participate in a Rumble. It just doesn't feel like something that they would care about, so ultimately that's why we left Nikki Cross out of this. And now as we turn to returning current stars, this exact same reason is why Alexa Bliss will not be coming back in this match. Now, if you follow her on the socials, you've been fooled probably a dozen or so times already about her returning, and I still think she's returning as a Wyatt 6 member. So just like Nikki, this doesn't feel right for me to bring her back right now. But if she does want to come back as the 5 Feet of Fury or as the Goddess, there is certainly a chance. So if there's one I'm really going to miss here, it would be Alexa. But for now, I'm still going with that Wyatt 6 angle and her not returning in the Rumble. Now, other members that are coming back from maternity leave, I still don't think Carmella and Valhalla are coming back anytime soon. We really haven't had any indications of their in-ring return, so pretty easy to leave both of them out. Now, Asuka, she has been out since May, and we knew it would be a long-term absence, and there hasn't really been anything concrete to make us think that she is anywhere close to being ready, so I don't think she'll be ready for that Rumble, so we're leaving her out instead. And also, just to mention it, Maurice and Tamina are still listed as current superstars on WWE.com, but we haven't seen them for a long time, so just not gonna happen. And for these current superstars, if the returns of Becky, Charlotte, and Jade aren't enough for you, I just don't think you're ever going to be satisfied with a Royal Rumble. Now with that, let's turn our attention to the legends who might return. And yes, we all want to see AJ Lee in the ring, but I'm just not gonna believe it until we actually see it, so nah, I'm leaving her out. Up next, Nikki and Brie Bella. Well, we saw Nikki on the premiere of Raw on Netflix, but I'm still not sure that she's actually medically cleared to participate here, so I don't feel good about that, and I don't think we'd get one Bella without the other. So to fill up 2 spots here, I think for now it's safe to say no to this. Now, Mandy Rose is interesting because Tiffany Stratton just said to put some respect on my name, and that made the internet go wild, and even Mandy responded to that on X. But still, I don't think we're ready to go there yet, so nice thought, but no cigar. And of course, after leaning heavily on the legends in the early Rumbles, those spots have really dried up lately. We only had 1 legend in 2023 with Michelle McCool, and last year we had 0. But with me going with Trish Stratus for that 1 spot, I think That's the only stratisfaction that we're gonna get. Alright, so let's just get back to the match with our final 8 competitors, and with Becky and Charlotte staring down each other, we've got the big 3 ready to turn back towards Nia and Candice, and Bianca and Naomi are going to attack Nia without even consulting Jade, so that's going to leave Jade one-on-one with Candice. Jade is simply going to overpower Candice, and Jade throws Candice out over that top rope. And so Bianca and Naomi are going to see this, and they're actually going to start to run at Jade while Jade's back is still turned towards Candice. But Jade's gonna turn around just in time, and Bianca and Naomi are going to stop right dead in their tracks. And before anyone moves to have anything happen from that, Julia is going to run at Bianca and Naomi, and those two are going to throw out Julia to eliminate her. And then Jade is going to give both Bianca and Naomi a look, but Bianca and Naomi are going to ignore it and instead wave Jade back to help with Nia. And in fact, they're able to get Nia onto the apron, but Nia is going to duck just enough at the right moment, and Jade is going to come up from behind and double clothesline Bianca and Naomi out of the match. And Bianca and Naomi are going to be lying on the floor looking completely shocked when Jade is going to point and yell at them and say that it was them. So that leaves us with just the final 4, and Becky, Charlotte, and Nia are all just going to be staring, looking at Jade in disbelief at what they just saw. But after a moment, they'll all start looking around at each other, and we'll get some big action with Becky and Charlotte squaring off and Jade and Nia squaring off. But before long, Nia will actually get Jade over top of that top rope and onto the apron, and Jade is going to be fighting to hold on. But while this is happening, Bianca, while she's walking away, is going to sweep Jade's legs out from under her and then pretend like she didn't do anything and just keeps walking out of there, and Nia will kick Jade out of the ring. So that will leave us with just 3, and upon seeing that, Becky and Charlotte will actually stop fighting each other, and they're going to do their little drinking of the tea thing that they do and haven't seen very much of late, but you know what it is. Anyways, those two are then going to team up, and eventually Becky is going to knock Nia out of the ring to get us to the final 2 of Charlotte and Becky. And those two are going to go one-on-one for about 5 minutes when we get to a little mini match, and Charlotte will take advantage and have Becky up against the ropes when she's going to go for a big boot, but she stops herself because in the back of her mind, she knows how this is going to go, as in 2019, she tried the same thing and it failed and Becky won. So when she stops herself this time, instead that gives Becky exactly what she needs to take advantage, and she hits that van handle slam, picks up Charlotte, and tosses her out, and it's 2019 all over again. Becky Lynch is your 2025 Royal Rumble champion. And for the future, we will say that Becky, of course, goes on to select Rhea to try to get her revenge from last year, but the roles will be reversed, and Becky will somehow find a way to turn heel over the next couple of months, and she will be the bad guy. And then over on SmackDown, Charlotte will try to take credit for having such a great Rumble, lasting all the way to the end from number 1, but they're gonna keep pointing out that she got no eliminations and was just kind of in the corner laying low most of the time. And so they're also going to point out that she choked yet again in trying to not repeat 2019. Instead, it backfires and she loses. So this is going to send her into a rage and into a heel run as well. But this is actually going to fuel her to find a way to win the Elimination Chamber. But in a similar manner, it's going to be a fluke way to get that win. However, Charlotte's not going to care. but that means she will challenge Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Championship at WrestleMania. And lastly, we'll note that Nia leads the Rumble with 7 total eliminations, so she'll get a chance to finally get her rematch against Tiffy at the Chamber, but she's gonna lose to her one-on-one. So there you have it, and I'm a little disappointed in myself because I've had Io Sky winning the Royal Rumble all the way back since my post-SummerSlam predictions to go on to challenge Rhea, but at this exact moment, it just doesn't feel like that's what it's going to be. So perhaps I'll change my mind in 1 week's time when I officially do my predictions for all of the matches at the Royal Rumble in the WWE Betting Podcast. But for now, if you missed yesterday's OK Question of the Week, I need you to count down from 10 and then go right on over here to check that out. Because if you don't, I'll throw you over the top rope and then give you a not okay.